Hello again, and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover, from one that shows Tupac's brother Mo react to Drake's use of Pac's voice on Kendrick Lamar's diss Tailor-Made Freestyle. And on using Pac's voice, we also have Suge Knight's reaction that also came with a warning for Drake about the West Coast. And we'll be exploring this, including how fans have reacted so far, in a moment. Today we also have one linked to Eminem's upcoming studio album that is slated for 2024. And while the trail has since gone cold since Dr. Dre announced the album on Jimmy Kimmel Live a few hours ago, a strange post was spotted on Twitter that raised eyebrows as it pointed to the release window for Eminem's upcoming album, and we'll get to this momentarily. And starting with the fallout from Drake's response to Kendrick Lamar's Like That, Rick Ross has now dropped the music video for his Drake diss Champagne Moments, and this has sparked split reactions across the board. As for instance, this reaction blew up that this record was cool, but a video for it seems a little clout chasey. But hey, shrugs emoji. But some have hit back with, man's doubling down on that stance. Ain't never an issue to drop a video to a diss. But in my opinion, just like Drake pointed out before on IG about Rick Ross using this to promote his employer's wine, the video certainly served that purpose, and some users even pointed this out. This low-key just a liquor promo video. Low-key it is not. And here is one that would get 50 Cent rolling, as in response to this video from Rick Ross, a user expanded, "Tell me your last album sold 37,000 in your first week without telling me you sold 37,000 in your first week." But to be clear, it was actually 31,000 first week.
When we sold 31,000 in 9 CDs, I shouldn't talk to you.
What is this?
And moving on, Tupac's stepbrother Mo recently spoke with TMZ about Drake using Pac's voice for his Kendrick diss. And from the report, check out some excerpts. Mo Shakur, Tupac's brother, tells TMZ Hip Hop that his issue with Drake using an AI Tupac voice is that he weaponized it, all for a rap battle. Mo tells us Drake using Pac's voice is like bringing out a tank or even going with a nuclear option, and he thinks the battle should be one-on-one with no outside help. Of course, Mo isn't naive to the fact Kendrick is a West Coast legend himself, inspired by Pac, and Drake is trying to push some buttons. He has nothing but love for Kendrick, Drake and Co, and says they all need to make sure the rap battle remains sport and doesn't escalate into physical violence. Mo admits Drake's song made him realize AI is a hell of a tool, and in Pac's case, he's worried younger generations might confuse the artificial Pac with the real deal. And Suge Knight also doesn't approve of Drake using Pac's voice, especially alongside Snoop Dogg. And he also warned Drake about the West Coast. Check out some snippets from Breakbeat Media.
Drake, hey youngster, you know, young people do what young people do. It's y'all turn. But my little homie Pop, he wasn't no joke. Then, you damn sure ain't no joke. I'll be made up a joke now. Putting him on a song with him dissing Kendrick, of everybody entertainment, that ain't how it go. For as putting him on a song with Snoop, who was a part of his downfall, exit, and never a good look. Pac was a king on that chessboard. He never was a pawn, so he can't make to be a pawn now. But West Coast, it's a whole state, real gang members of all colors, all races. You want them coming together, especially when motherfuckers sleeping in the lions den. I'll wake those lions up. On the West Coast, enter with caution.
And in reaction to Suge's take on Drake using Pac's voice, some believe he's not qualified to speak on this matter. A user expands, he's the last one who needs to be speaking on Tupac. If Unc Snoop says something, I'll start caring. And moving on to the next point, the trail has since gone cold for Eminem's upcoming album that was announced a few weeks ago by Dr. Dre. However, something popped up from an unlikely source on Twitter that sparked speculations. It goes, Eminem's new album is going through Apple Music and Spotify approval and publish process now. We could see the album drop mid to late summer. and the source claims to have found out about this from an insider. However, many fans remain skeptical about this and have called out the source. What are you smoking? If the album is going on published process on streaming services, it could take up like 1 week max till it drops, and a few hours minimum. It doesn't make sense to have an album uploaded on DSPs and not releasing it publicly, cause people can leak it anytime. However, on the other end, some believe this is more about preparation rather than uploading the album right now. Check this out. The longer time you give, the more opportunities for playlisting and algorithmic success. And if this is the case, then perhaps we should expect a proper rollout this time around.
Nice.
That is, if the source is to be believed, perhaps something similar to the MMLP2 rollout, and in response to this, a user expanded. So hopefully he's not scared of expectations anymore, and we'll have an actual rollout this time. But what are your thoughts? Moving on, Charlamagne recently put Kanye on blast for dissing Drake, and the entire clip is full of irony, not because of the statements, but the fact that these statements were coming from someone like Charlamagne. Check out some snippets.
Kanye West is the leader of the Legion of Lame. Okay, what a hating ass human. Like, what type of man sits around and says we are all energized by the elimination of another man? Like, this man is so miserable and has never dealt with whatever hurt and pain he's feeling, and he just wants to project it on the other people. And that's why I don't even want Kendrick to respond no more. Okay? Because on like that, you know, he clowned Drake and Cole for clicking up. Don't you be a part of the Legion of Lame, Kendrick. Okay, Future, you neither. Run from Kanye. Metro, what are you doing? All of y'all should be running from Kanye West. Have you not read the 48 Laws of Power? Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. You can die from somebody else's misery. Kanye done made the whole thing corny. It was entertaining until he brought his jealous, envious ass into the picture. He's been hating on Drake. When I interviewed him back in the day when we was walking through the hills, he was hating on Drake and Virgil then. Talking about they took the culture from him. And this is when he was up. This is when Yeezy was booming. And he was still hating because he's an unhappy, unlucky, hating ass human. We shouldn't even give him no energy. I hate unhappy, unlucky people. He's just a miserable person.
And even those who agree with him are cooking him right now on social media. He is right. But Charlamagne is also the queen of all haters. And the fact that he calls Kanye unlucky is quite hilarious, because you don't get to Kanye's position in any industry without having a streak of luck on your side, regardless of how much hard work you put in. And they kept going in on Charlamagne. Funny coming from the male version of Wendy Williams.
Damn.
We're failing as a people. Ooh.
And people just can't get over this fact. Coming from one of the biggest haters on radio, he's been hating on Posty, calling him a culture vulture for years. Hypocrite. And this is certainly a pot calling the kettle black situation, but worse. Since when it comes to hating, overall, Kanye doesn't stand a chance compared to Charlamagne, who is renowned for hating on winners. And some remember 2017, this goof Charlamagne was part of the mob doing the same thing to Eminem in 2017. Not much has changed since then, since he remains salty about Eminem to this day. But now he's got smoke for Kanye for hating. 2024 is a wild timeline, to be honest. I'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.